It's time now for our next sustainability champion. He's the ambassador for Plastic Free Delhi. He's also a marathoner. And if you combine the two, he is India's plogging ambassador. Meet Ripudaman Bevli, athlete, activist, socialpreneur, and friend of the planet. Ripudaman, please come on stage.
I have a question to ask all of you. What is the word of the year? Anybody knows? Oxford word of the year? Nobody knows? Have you heard of Riz? Riz, what does that mean? Charisma. Okay. You know, today's topic of the entire conclave is sustainability, right? According to me, or let's just ask, what's the most used and abused word of the year? Because what does sustainability mean? Oh, I'm gonna move or remove all my plastic containers in the kitchen, all Tupperware, everything goes away, and I switch to glass containers and steel containers. All my plastic cups and plastic straws, I'll remove that from the market to paper cups and paper straws. That's sustainability for us. Okay, so my topic says real talk, so I'm gonna try to make it as real as possible for everybody. Let's move. So I started a movement called the Litter Free India movement 8 years ago, inspired by visuals like these. Nature's view of us and our view of the nature. What do you think you prefer? Which view do you prefer? Can I hear everybody say what view do you prefer? Our view of nature, right? That's what I prefer, that's what I want. But you know, if we have to get that view of nature, then we will have to work towards it. We will have to sacrifice a lot of things. We cannot be at status quo, जैसे आज life चल रही है, जैसे आज ज़िंदगी चल रही है, ऐसे नहीं चलने वाला. अगर ऐसे चलेगा, तो यही वाला view मिलेगा, और कुछ सालों में ये वाला view भी नहीं मिलेगा. This is what I've been doing for the last 8 years. I always say this as I have this crazy dream of making India litter free, and I'm on a mission to make that dream a reality. 2016, I'm a runner. I run marathons, 42.195 kilometers. So that's my distance I run. So when I run and train in the mornings, लोग कम होते हैं, traffic नहीं होता है. तो सुबह जो मेरे को सबसे ज़्यादा दिखता था, वो था कूड़ा, trash and plastic. अब मैंने कुछ लोगों से बात की, लोगों को clean up के लिए बुलाया, कोई नहीं आया. But fitness और running sessions के लिए 100 लोग turn up हो जाते थे यार. So that was my cue to combine fitness to fight the garbage crisis in the country, because we were all runners. We ran and started picking up litter. Very, very quickly it became a very cool term. It became from Sweden, like it's called plogging. We were just doing it as a bunch of runners here. तो तब से लेकर आज तक तकरीबन 700 से ज़्यादा clean up drives हमने organize किए हैं across 110 odd cities. Moving to the campaigns. इस साल one of the biggest incidents that had happened was the प्राण प्रतिष्ठा ceremony at Ayodhya. तो उससे पहले, अगर आप गए होंगे उस टाइम पे अयोध्या, तो उससे पहले हमने 2 दिन का एक क्लीन अप ड्राइव ऑर्गेनाइज किया था अयोध्या में, जहाँ पे हमने अयोध्या घाटों की मिलके यूपी गवर्नमेंट के साथ और कॉलेज और स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स के साथ मिलके वहाँ पे घाटों की सफाई की थी, ताकि जब लोग आएँ, जब श्रद्धालु आएँ, तो उन्हें वो जगह साफ दिखे, राम राज्य दिखे एक्चुअली. Let's talk about the last campaign, Run to Make India Litter Free, my most ambitious campaign till date. NDTV was my partner. This was 2019. I ran across 50 cities in 50 days, cleaning up 1,000 kilometers on foot. मतलब रोज एक हाफ मैराथन हमने एक शहर में भागा. सिर्फ भागा नहीं, एक्चुअली कचरा उठाया वहाँ के लोकल्स के साथ मिलके. और उस कैंपेन के 3rd वीक में मुझे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर का कॉल आया और उन्होंने बोला कि ये सिर्फ आप अकेले क्यों कर रहे हो, पूरा देश आपके साथ करेगा. And the government of India adopted our mission, making it the first such citizen-led movement which is adopted by government of India, and more than 1 crore Indians have participated. Let's talk about plastic now. You know, plastic when invented was invented in 1907, first time. But 50-60 years ago, जब plastic का mainstream में use आया, it was considered the biggest invention, the greatest gift to humanity in the 20th century. 50 साल में from the greatest invention to the greatest travesty ये कैसे बन गया? डिज़ाइन फ्लॉ है, सर्कुलर नहीं है, जो कि हर एक ह्यूमन इन्वेंशन लिटरली डिज़ाइन फ्लॉ के साथ आती है कि सर्कुलर नहीं होता. So plastic from the greatest invention in 50 years became the greatest travesty. You know what's the most dangerous waste on the planet? Can somebody answer that? Most dangerous waste? Plastic. No, it's the waste that is coming out of your kitchen. आपका food waste, आपका organic waste is actually the most dangerous waste. क्योंकि plastic itself is inert. अगर आप उसको landfill में भी डाल दोगे ना, सिर्फ plastic जाएगा, तो ऐसी कोई major problem नहीं होने वाली. प्रॉब्लम कहाँ होती है? ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशंस कहाँ से आते हैं? लीचिंग कहाँ से होती है? वाटर पोल्यूशन, सॉइल पोल्यूशन कहाँ से होता है? जब आपका ऑर्गेनिक कचरा आपके प्लास्टिक और अदर सॉर्ट्स ऑफ ड्राई वेस्ट के साथ मडल अप होता है, देन दिस ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट which can decompose, which can become black gold, which can go back to nature, is actually rotting, सड़ रहा है वो without the aeration. और वही आपके फिर मीथेन एमिशंस कॉज कर रहा है, वही लीच होके सॉइल और वाटर को कंटामिनेट कर रहा है, एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट इज कमिंग बैक टू बाइट अस. ऑल ऑफ दैट इज इम्पैक्टिंग आवर हेल्थ. सो व्हाट कैन वी डू? वी कैन सेग्रीगेट ड्राई एंड वेट, इतना कर सकते हैं यार, एंड वेट वेस्ट को कंपोज करना स्टार्ट करिए. It will solve a lot of the problem. Like I said, 60 to 70% of all waste from the households come from the wet waste. So if we all start making our own black gold, the compost, we will be able to solve a lot of our crises. So let's move to the part, switching tracks. सबसे important चीज़ है sustainable development की हम बात करते हैं, but हमने establish कर लिया sustainability की बात करने वाले majority of the लोगों को sustainability पता ही नहीं है. But उसको change कैसे किया जाता है? जा सकता है policy से. You know, India needs development. Development is something that we cannot do without. It's very, very important. But उसके साथ अगर वो development ऐसे आए कि हम 5-10 साल तो उसका enjoyment कर लें, but उसके बाद जो उसकी catastrophe, जो उसके after effects हैं, from landslides to complete devastation of habitats, to flooding, air pollution, so on and so forth, that is killing us. That is killing our quality of life. For all the road projects, for all the rail projects, real estate projects, what do? Cut the trees. वो करना पड़ेगा, वो करना पड़ता है और वो करना पड़ेगा. I am not against that. I am not against development. I am just asking one thing. Take every road project of yours, okay? Then you do an audit on that project before giving an approval to understand what is going to be my number of trees being cut. What is going to be my damage on the forest? How many forests am I going to mow down? What is going to be the loss of habitat, loss of biodiversity, soil, water, air pollution? And then let's use a metric like carbon emissions of X tons of CO2. I am going to shift this project 3 to 5 years, ideally 5 years. And in those 5 years, now I am going to build an ecosystem, which means I'm going to plant, if I'm cutting down 1 lakh trees, I'm going to plant 10, 15, 20, 25 lakh trees, 5, 6, 7 feet saplings in the vicinity of this project over the next year or so that 4-5 साल में ये mid to full size trees होंगे. We will impact the biodiversity positively, वो increase हो जाएगा, habitat increase हो जाएगा, और जो हम damage करने वाले हैं water, air और soil pollution की वजह से, वो भी हमने already offset कर लिया है. Now हमने जितना offset किया है उसको बोलते हैं Y tons of CO2. 5 साल के बाद we are ready to make the project. Now this X CO2 जो है इस project में damage होने वाला है, that has to be less than Y CO2, Y tons of CO2. इतना सा policy change करना है. It might not be the easiest, but you know what, the way we're going right now, that is definitely not sustainable. Let's make environment the #1 agenda. Now this starts with all of us. When we go for grocery shopping, can we, to the local market, instead of going 1 kilometer in our car and burning a lot of fuel, can we not just walk? When we start being mindful, we will make more sustainable choices. We will not switch from Tupperware and plastic jars in our kitchen to glass and steel jars because it's sustainable. No, that's consumerism. So we need to understand what sustainability is, we need to be mindful about it, and we need to make choices accordingly. Then to the manufacturers and brands, you need to identify ways to cut down on your packaging. It's as simple as that. It is not sustainable today at all. And moving from plastic packaging to paper packaging, that's the worst that you can do. So very important is our policymakers, our government, state and center. And we need to address this problem together. And for that, we have to tell our leaders that this is our #1 agenda. So stop greenwashing, stop the BS, because वो चलता रहता है और वो चलता रहेगा. But we have to somehow stand up and take that step and say, no, this will not do anymore.